I'm not gonna have a cat girl mascot. Getting harassed on stream. This is unprecedented. No one would make fun of me. Me? Making fun? What? It's crazy. Have you like met me? You are muted, Cam. It's just me, I guess. Only I'm here.
There we go. Damn it! I had good commentary.
You did.
I did have good commentary. I promise.
You'll never know.
I was stuck on the voice mod set. But yes, Alex, untouchable, invincible. Yeah.
I am.
Only said in a much more mocking tone.
Unmockable Alex, they call me. That's one of my. That's one of my titles.
Unmockable, yes. Well, welcome everyone. It's been interesting. We got some stuff on the scenes. We might have some interesting table talks here in the near future. And as well, something that we planned a bit ago is we might get a really good DM for D&D 5e to come and rebuttal us for all the shit we give D&D 5e. So
You do give it a lot of shit.
I mean, why are potions so goddamn expensive?
True.
They're not even worth it.
Even worse if your DM doesn't use the bonus action drink variable rule.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, spending an action to heal with 5e potions is like a waste of time.
It's literally, let me prolong the combat in a losing way.
All potions are just revival tools for people who can't cast Cure Wounds.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
They exist a hole that someone can jam it down your throat.
Just so that person can then have to stand up and then do their turn.
And then get knocked down again.
And then get knocked down again. Anyway, 5th edition's a fine game. I feel like I have to say this now every time.
You will at some point when like the chat gets bumping. And people
I know.
are like, what? Huh? 5e? I spent money on that.
The death yo-yo effect, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I legitimately do like 5e, so but that is a problem of its design.
It is. I was so relieved when I got to play D&D 5e after playing so much Anima Beyond Fantasy, because in comparison, D&D 5e was the easiest game in the world to actually run.
Yeah, but it is a worse game, sadly.
I'd like for you to keep saying that by playing Anima's actual rules.
I genuinely do want to play official Anima rules at some point. I will make you do this for me when I start working on the Anima video again.
Maybe if we do like Anima for our game check-in for a month, I'll run it just straight vanilla.
Ooh, that's a great idea. But I like legitimately will when I make that video, because I'm like halfway done with it. The script. I just need to go back and touch it up and do it again. I will have a part where you play legitimate Anima rules. Okay. And I want to experience that. And if we do it for the stream, even better, like multitasking. I've heard all this nightmare situations about the initiative system in Anima, and I do agree. When I've heard about it, it's dog shit. It's not good.
All right, Alex, or chat, keep Alex busy. I'll be right back.
Fuck, no! I can't do this! I have like one subject I can like talk about ad nauseum, and that's not what this is for. Hi chat, how's it going? How's your day been? Mine's been fine. I I can't say things funny like on command. I've just been reading a lot of Warhammer stuff for my next video topic. That's all I've been doing. That's all I ever do. Iridescent King. Do you have to ask that? It's Doctor Iridescent King. Gives all madness effects. Dance for chat's entertainment. This is how do streamers do this? Like genuinely, it's so weird. We could infect the Bad Luck Gamer Twitch with more Dead by Daylight. It's not like we'd think about that 24/7 or like we're just doing other shit. It really is just like this all-consuming void, like on our gaming server, like our personal one. It's just Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight do certainly be one of the games that exists in this world. Least favorite? I feel like I have an answer to this actually. I mean, for the ones I play, Iridescent Queen is underwhelming. It's not as good as it sounds. As it gives, a mobile blast as if you shocked somebody. But the problem is it only procs like maybe twice or 3 times a match, in my experience. Other than that, I mean, there are just some cool killers with underwhelming iridescents. I think Wesker's iridescents are a little underwhelming, to be completely honest with you. I don't think they're as cool as they could be. Same with Nemesis. He has an iridescent that makes zombies faster after a gen's done, and that's not very useful because that's not the point of the zombies. All right, I guess I have 2 subjects I can talk ad nauseum about: Dead by Daylight meta and Warhammer 40k stuff. That's it. Not really. I'll say they're not that. I mean, I guess they can be, but like zombies aren't that useful except for very like small cases. Either if the nemesis is playing to the point where he's like corralling you into a zombie's arms, or the zombie glitches out and holds in a really clutch position. Ah, fuck. 18. I think that's what that is. That did take me a while. Listen, math, that's not fair. You can't throw me math. I don't know how that works. I haven't taken math since high school. I refuse to. No, I'm right. What? You can't say that. Can't gaslight me, chat. Oh shit! You know what? They don't call me that. They don't call me that. It's not one of my titles. I guess one thing I will shout out because I have the chance. I'm also not a weeb. We've talked about this on the stream. There isn't good anime. There's no good anime exists except for the many exceptions I have. Speaking of one of the many exceptions I have, the Resident Evil 4 remake trailer just dropped and it looks sick as fuck. I'm very excited. I love Resident Evil 4. It's the best Resident Evil game ever, and it looks like a very good recreation. Unlike the Silent Hill remake, which is a little weird. Hey, I did watch the 2 episodes of Chainsaw Man that are like out, and it's pretty cool. It's one of the exceptions. There are no others.
Our bands are made to the highest standards, so we can offer a free lifetime warranty. Come see us and we'll help you both find a band that you love wearing every day.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
In Chainsaw Man? I don't know them enough yet. Genji's kind of cool because he's got chainsaws, and yeah, he is in fact Chainsaw Man. God, no, y'all need to look up the Silent Hill 2 remake trailer. It's a little strange. It is also extra funny that the main character, forget that fool's name, does look like a yassified Leon from RE4. It's kind of strange. Silent Hill 2, good game. Probably will still play the remake though.
Featured in Cyberpunk Edge Runners, is now available to stream on Spotify.
No. I will never. I'd rather die. And even then, like I think Chainsaw Man's really interesting. I think it's too early. I know the manga's really good, is all I've heard. And first two episodes are fine. There's some very good beats in them. Its pacing is very interesting. Yeah, you do know where I live, so. No, I think Chainsaw Man's really its pacing is very interesting. It's not what I expected, and I think it's not what a lot of people expected. If it's gonna be a really interesting bunch of character studies, I'm into it because that's my vibe. Animation's really good though.
Okay.
Thank fuck, dude. Jesus, I hate that.
You were not having a hard time.
I was!
You were
I
not.
was terrified the entire time.
You were talking about Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, but not like...
Mm.
Panicking the entire time. I'm not a weeb in denial.
You're so weeb in denial.
No, I'm not!
You love JoJo's.
I don't love JoJo. I think it's fun.
You love JoJo's.
I think it's fun. I know a lot about it. Also, ignore the fact that my tattoo is from a manga. Ignore that. And I'm not a weeb.
What are we gonna do with you, Alex?
You're just gonna have to bear with me, you know? Like, deal with it.
Yeah. It's great for content, I suppose. But...
That's not one of my titles. Hey! I do, but shut up. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
The one, okay, yeah, like, the one, granted, the one wallpaper I have ever made and posted on Wallpaper Engine's a Berserk one of a panel I really like. Sue me, I guess. It's not my fault. Not my fault. It's a good background. Doesn't make me a weeb though.
Mm-hmm. Anyway. Alex backpedaling to the Stone Age aside.
Yeah, ignore how the entire time I was just talking about Japanese properties.
Hey, thanks Shovel Fox for the follow.
Yo.
But yeah, today there's been a lot going on behind the scenes. Some really fun stuff. I'm actually pretty excited. Also, the channel's been bopping lately. Holy cow.
Oh yeah.
Getting back on our feet after, suffering from massive depression. Let's go. It seems to be what I'm good at. That's not a great thing to be good at. Here we go.
Everyone's got to have a skill, I guess.
Yeah. And one like recently, I'm so sad, right? Because recently I was given a great idea for the shorts and TikToks to just clip some of our live stream stuff. It's very difficult to do that in any convenient way.
Yeah.
I spent last night. I was clipping parts from the Blades in the Dark one shot. Predominantly, it was a lot of Alex's failed survey checks. It was the best line of content I could think of fitting into a 60-second spread.
I am delighted that I can help you farm clips.
I will eventually get it as a clip, and we'll get it as a TikTok or something.
This is a reason why there's like editors who are specific. Their job is to comb through live stream videos for TikTok shit.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
We'll hire ones to do this specifically.
Which is the reason why I was planning on actually releasing a TikTok and short today, because it's better for the algorithm than me posting a video today. Yeah. Because of my stream, and the stream just fucks everything up. But
good idea to post a clip.
I couldn't figure out how to do it in an easy way, so I will get that clip eventually set up. But yeah, but we're moving into a higher content load. 2 R-type videos, 1 discussion video, 1 build video, plus 2 shorts a week. It's a lot.
Yeah, I've got some similar style shit in the works. November is going to be a very fun month. That's the most I'll say.
Yeah.
And currently am waiting for the algorithm to swoop up the video I posted this morning. It's been ramping up a little bit. It's normally how it goes is near the end of the day to tomorrow, I'll just wake up or just look at my phone and then see that like, oh shit, all right, it's exploded. That's what always happens.
Yeah.
We shall see. If you're interested, Cam's got a link in his on his YouTube to my YouTube channel. I posted a video about the Sisters of Battle that I think is very good. I'm very proud of this one.
And I did the thumbnail.
Yes, you did.
That's all I add to that. It's fine.
We have a good exchange going for it.
We do. I just say it's pretty equitable.
Yeah.
But yeah, so lots of great stuff coming up. I know a new book for Pathfinder is coming out next month as well.
Heyo. Source book
Impossible
or
Lands.
Ooh.
It's technically it is a, oh goodness, what do they call it?
Like a setting book?
Setting book, yes.
There we go.
That is the term.
Howdy.
Impossible Lands is gonna be really good. Yo, Mocha Man, how are you? But it's one I'm particularly excited for. There's some really cool ancestries coming out in that book.
You've talked some good game about it.
I mean, the Mwangi Expanse book was so good.
Oh, 100%. It was phenomenal.
So I can't imagine Impossible Lands, which is the territory where you have the undead nation of Geb, and you have the hyper, like, sophisticated wizard society of Nex would be all that, all that boring, honestly.
Yeah, no. Isn't there a lot of talk that they're going to add a bunch of cool magic stuff or like stuff for magic-based characters in this one?
Maybe.
I thought that's what I heard you talk about. Stuff that's going to make like Alchemist or...
No. That's Treasure Vault, which is coming out early next year.
Okay. Got those mixed up. Yeah, I mean, of course you'd be interested in the Undead book, though.
Mokuman, you just started a Pathfinder campaign with some friends. I've never played anything similar before. Are you the GM or the player? Because I got good advice for both.
Yeah. And lucky you, that's all we talk about.
Oh, yeah, and then there's also the massive wasteland of horrible abominations known as the Mana Wastes.
The
as
Mana Waste is
well.
hype. Okay, that one is so sick.
So, yeah, we got a lot of really fun stuff coming up in that book.
Is there any? I mean, yeah, it makes sense that like ancestries would exist for a source book like that. Like that makes sense. Is there any hope for like a archetype or two, or is that like just probably not going to happen?
There might be. That's not completely unheard of. The Mining Expanse came out with, I think, the something lions.
Okay. Because the Milwaukee Expanse is the only like source book like that I've read of Pathfinder, or at least I skimmed a lot through it and I liked everything I saw. I didn't sit down and read it cover to cover.
Yeah, I'm sure there might be something.
Yeah.
I'm also excited because you get to play sentient food people.
Yo,
One of the ancestries that are coming out. It's just really fun.
That's real fun. They always got the fun creative shit.
Well, Mokuman, then the only thing I recommend is classes are much more flexible than they first appear. A lot of classes can be twisted to do some really fun things if you have some certain ideas for characters. You can check out the build series I have on the channel to get some ideas on how you can kind of play some classes in some very unique ways.
Also, if your DM's not, bring up that your DM should do the free archetype rule. It's a good rule to do for character creation. It gives a lot more flexibility on the player end, and it's a rule that I don't see why it's not official.
Ooh, that does sound pretty cool.
Sorcerer is a very good time.
He allowed it? Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Good.
Good DM.
That does sound like a really interesting one. So
Yeah.
that sounds very exciting. I can't wait to hear about that.
Sorcerer was my first class I played in Pathfinder. And honestly, Sorcerer's a fine time. Though I'm excited for next time I play a character. Maybe I'll even switch out Adrian for next chapter thing. I want to play my wizard build I've made. My wizard curse maelstrom character.
Yeah, that does sound like a really good one.
I want to really try out the magic system and see how it works. I really want to like delve into it for like legitimately.
Yeah,
And because
me too,
Pathfinder spells are
actually.
so cool, actually. Like, it's the only time Pathfinder is the only tabletop game I've cared about magic where I'm like, these spells are sick. It's like no others.
We're quite a ways off from Pathfinder 3. I think we're still a good decade from Pathfinder 3, honestly.
Yeah, but they still should. Yeah, that's the thing. That should be some high praise. I think magic is for nerds and lame. Except Pathfinder magic's pretty cool. And honestly, I've had a lot of fun playing my sorcerer as a I played him as a wand collector, where he just had like a bandolier of wands. My favorite was the shocking grasp one that I just said was like a taser. Where I just like I didn't cast a spell, I just jammed it into somebody and it was just a taser.
Yes, Shovel Fox, yes. Witches are good. They are good.
I don't know.
Shut your face, nerd.
I don't think witches
I can't
are
take
that
anything
high.
you say seriously.
What? Why?
We just proved that you're actually a weeb and you're still in denial.
Witches are a B minus if you had to give them a tier. I still stand by that.
Was that what you actually gave them?
Yeah.
Sure.
I gave them the B. I'm looking
Are you
at it, B
sure?
minus. Yes,
Okay.
I gave witches a B minus, and not because the spot was empty. Because that's what I truly believe.
So that's actually a legitimately good question.
I'm actually very curious on this. I barely know how witches work.
So sorcerers gain a lot of bloodline abilities. They have a very high focus on their focus spells, as well as what their expanded spell list can do, and yada yada. That's kind of like the big thing about sorcerers. Witches, and I was just thinking about this the other night. Their hexes are really good. They got a lot of good hex cantrips that are good buffs or debuffs that they can sustain through combat that have no save, which is very good and unique. Witches are able to actually debuff enemies and they can't do anything about it, which is pretty hype. But not only that, with the use of Cackle, which is a really good feat they can pick up early, they can actually have 2 summon creatures out at a time, which is better than even Summoner. Because what Cackle does is for a focus point, you can sustain a spell as a free action. Which means you could use another 3-action summoning spell, and then you could sustain 2 summons at once. You will not be able to do a lot because you'll have 1 action for yourself and sustain 2 creatures. But technically, you would then have 5 actions in your round, 2 per summon and yourself.
Huh. I mean, that's pretty cool.
And if you have extra focus points, you can Cackle again to cast a spell while sustaining one of your other spells. Which has a lot of other really good functionality, which is also really good for dipping into for other classes. Eldritch Nails is a surprisingly really good pickup because you gain an extra unarmed strike that you can give different runes in comparison to your other unarmed strikes, because you can etch the nails specifically.
Cam has often mentioned that a really good pickup for Witch is if you're a Magus. Just dip into Witch for a little bit.
Witch and Magus have so many good crossovers. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Sorcerer is a little less good for that kind of stuff. A lot of Sorcerer feats don't really blend well with other classes.
Nope.
That is true, Shovel Fox. You could order your Familiar to get 2 additional actions for a total of 6. The Familiar isn't very combat capable, but yeah, you can do it. Also, Witches have a very high focus towards... They're one of the few classes that very much innately gain access to specific Familiars, which are stronger than normal Familiars and can do some actually interesting things. Though technically the Familiar Attunement Thesis Wizard can do the same thing. Which kind of feels bad because Familiars are a big part of what Witches have, because all Witches get Familiars. But even that alone, when you consider it, most other classes need to invest a feat to get a Familiar, while Witches don't. Though I will say, I did talk a lot about Witch. Sorcerer's really good because you can very much heavily invest in your bloodline. You can get other things that can really augment how you play the class. If you do like the arcane evolution, you can get a spell book if you're an arcane tradition sorcerer, and then you can have an additional list of spells you can add to your repertoire. You get to add 1 from that list every day. And they can do a lot of things. Like, sorcerers are incredibly flexible when it comes to how their playstyle is made. They're one of the most versatile spellcasters in the game for pure playstyle choices. Because a lot of the bloodlines can offer other choices. My Eldritch Touch sorcerer build was very much based on the idea of it's a sorcerer that can use really good touch spells at a range and have a lot of abilities to completely mess and completely guff up, the mental states of enemies. It's really fun.
I had a lot of fun making a face character with the Infernal Bloodline. You get a lot of really fun little face spells. Like, the Bloodlines are really cool. And also, it's I think the fun thing about Sorcerer is there's so many options. Like, you can legitimately make whatever flavor of Sorcerer you want it to be. I had a Deception face, like, con man Sorcerer. He was a great time.
And thanks for the follow, Mocha Man. But yeah, it's funny that we both need to play a full magic caster. Like, well, you've played one actually before a little bit.
I did, and I want to play. I want to try playing wizard. I want to really figure out how that ticks, because I have a build idea that's really fun, and I have like a character that I really like, that I want to try. I want to challenge myself and play a character who's actually intelligent.
That's a good choice.
Because I play characters who are a little like dumb to the world. I want to play a character who's actually actively going out and seeking lore. It's a character who's actively, his entire thing is he's trying to unravel like the things behind his curse, and also specifically I think he'd tie in really easily with his campaign, because he's also actively studying the extraplanar.
So you're thinking about trading out Adrian, maybe?
Probably. I think this character would be really interesting.
Ooh, poor Adrian.
I'm thinking about it. However, if Adrian gets swapped out, I want you to take him.
Okay.
I want him to meet up with Brandmaster again.
Ooh.
Yeah. Because I was thinking the whole time, I'm like, if I am actually left, or if Adrian dies here for some reason, I was like, imagine this as a mini boss.
Yeah.
I think that'd be just giving you a Magus like to fully mess with and make really scary in a combat would be really fun. It's the thing of like, I like Magus. I think the class is really interesting. I'm not connecting with it because I literally cannot connect with Spell Strike.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, you haven't had a lot of opportunities because you haven't had too many combats where you had enemies that were actually like easy to hit.
Yeah, it's the thing of like, Magus seems very cool. It's just, it feels like I'm not doing anything. Though I am actively soaking hits, which that's a role you can take. It's a disconnect, I guess, where it's like I want to play this class, but the game won't let me play it.
Yeah.
Well,
it's just been the recent encounters. I think it will get better as the game goes on.
I mean, that's fair.
But Magus is definitely a very one shot or nothing kind of character. Sadly, you miss your melee strike, you're kind of SOL.
Yep.
But I promise there will be some enemies that you can more easily hit.
I also regardless of that, it's I do want to play this wizard character because I also want to challenge myself with trying to use spells in a creative way.
Okay.
I want to have spells and utilize them in cool ways, even though the character we're playing is going to be an evocation wizard.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not going to play a fucking debuff or turn that kind of wizard. I do want to play a battle mage.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to figure out the whole way to work with that. I want to try to unlock that part. If it's going to be any game that I connect with that, it's going to be Pathfinder.
Yeah, the investigator archetype is better. See, that's the thing. I love playing magic casters. I'm a big magic nerd when it comes to games. Every game I play, usually I play a magic caster first. I just love the versatility of magic. I don't even like blasty magic casting. I never have. I've only really liked high utility magic casting.
That's fair. I hate utility magic casting. Though, that is an interesting question. Why pick wizard over sorcerer? I have two reasons. First, it fits the character, his backstory and story a lot better. As a key part of his story is that he's worked to get a magic education, a wizard education. It's tied into his character. And then the second part is I've already played sorcerer and I refuse to do the same thing twice.
Yeah.
I just don't. That's not me.
And it's funny too because I love it, and since starting Pathfinder, I've not played a single spellcaster.
I'm very surprised about that.
Magus is the closest spellcaster I got.
Even then, it's not even on the same scale. I think it's
it's
it's a whole different league. I completely agree with the statement. Magus is a whole other league to casters or melee characters. It really is the closest Pathfinder gets to 5e Paladin, which best class by the way.
Wait for my champion build coming out tomorrow. I got something just for you.
Ugh. All these people trying to convince me champion's good. Then giving me a build that's actually cool.
But the reason why I haven't actually played a spellcaster, has been literally Pathfinder 2e has made martial characters the best I've seen in any tabletop game.
Mm-hmm.
Besides maybe Anima Beyond Fantasy.
True.
Because that
Oh,
can
that's
make
hard to
your
compare.
martial styles very cracked.
Yeah, you can
But-
literally play Goku. So like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It can you play anything. But I mean in like as far as like D&D, like a lot of them you just don't get a lot, but in this game it's like you're looking at your class like, how do I multi-class out of this? I can't. All the feats are too good. And I'm just super drawn to Investigator, which is my favorite class. Inventor is probably one of my top 5 favorites now that I played it, and it was like really, really good. And now they have Thaumaturge, which is just like it was written for me.
It's pretty good. Thaumaturge is pretty hype, even though Psychic is... You know, I actually really do like that each time a book like that comes out, it's like fucking new Pokemon games. One of us always like goes to the other. Like, I'm super into Psychic. I think Psychic's the coolest class in that book. Like, I think it's way better than Thaumaturge, and then meanwhile, Thaumaturge, your favorite class. It was the exact same with Guns and Gears.
Yeah. It's a hard game. It's a hard game to get to play because you just get so many good ideas.
Yeah, that's the problem. I thought I had a really fun pirate character, and then I was like, oh, this wizard. I really like the story. He can tell. That's the problem.
Well, you are about to go to a mage academy, so
That might actually help.
yeah.
Yeah, because
That's what the Megambia is.
yeah, this character is very easily slotted into a story like this because he's actively wants to take part in like researching the events and hearing, oh, this is the threats going on. Oh, it has to do with the elemental plane of water. That I've actually been researching that.
You narratively have sown the seeds. Adrian has kind of been obsessing over Brandmaster since leaving. Yeah. And if Adrian, I think, stuck hard to like, no, I want to go back. I have to do this. I think everyone else would choose to keep going because they got to save the world.
Yeah.
And it could be a very easy and narratively justifiable reason.
I think it'd be a fun swap. It's the problem. I think Magus is cool, but like, damn, it's not. I'm not having as much fun as I wish. Like playing the class in combat is the problem.
Mm-hmm. I'm all for people swapping characters to something that they will hopefully have more fun with. I mean,
Yeah.
Devin's gonna swap for like the 3rd time.
Yeah, I'm not
So...
I'm never surprised at that, but man has too many. He has too many Pathfinder characters is the problem, and also Shiari has not rolled good at all. So
I don't think that's necessarily the case, but it's definitely. I think Devin just requires a character that's more socially interactive with the rest of the group. So
that's fair. I'm specifically playing a wizard who is also, for my own sake, very socially aware. I'm playing a character with like a decent charisma as a wizard, where he's like a very chatty wizard who's also not like, hey, I'm gonna talk your ear off with all this knowledge. He's like very, I don't know. It's gonna be a very interesting character to play. I think he's gonna slot in very well.
I think it's a good character study for you.
I think so. It's very different, which is I'm super interested in. He'll still be, don't worry, a flavor of an Alex character.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna be a bit snarky. He's gonna be like make jokes. He's gonna be my character, but I think he's gonna tell a way more interesting story.
Yeah, I think most people wouldn't recognize me when I play, when I'm playing my Magus currently, because he's like a little crass, a little like crude, and he's just like, I remember recently, the GM was talking about like, we were like on the sea, and this giant scaly tentacle comes rising up out of the water to smash the boat, and I was just like, "It's my dick." And everyone started laughing, and it's just it was so out of character for me normally, but like for that character, for Sloan, it was perfect.
I mean, it depends. I have a very, very strong idea of what I'm going to be playing, Devin. I can tell you about him, and if you want to make something similar, though, I don't know. This is not going to be Magnus and Audrey's return. I'll tell you that. I want to save that for like a new campaign where we're starting out. Not as a character we swap to. Like next campaign, I'll 100% try to pitch we do Magnus and Audrey again.
Ooh, that'd be a fun one.
I think so. And then it's just like tying them more to like Pathfinder and creating like that. Making a it's a fun thing like making a Adventure League character for like a legitimate play like we do. Good. Yeah, we're 100% doing that. Listen, I'll pitch you my character if you have stuff that's similar. We can be introduced around the same time. Though, I mean, my character is also not the type to like be against making friends or allies. He will gladly like hang out with someone if they're like-minded.
But yeah, and the good thing about Wizard, I also have homebrewed the rule that all wizards gain access to the spell swapping thesis. Because I find it super unfair that wizards and witches specifically need to spend so much money on like adding spells to their books or familiars.
Yeah.
When other classes either get their whole spell list at all times or just have a repertoire so they don't even have to worry about like having more spells. I don't think it really breaks game balance, especially because swapping a spell in your book takes 10 minutes, so you can't do it in combat. It just lets you take more combat spells, and then if you need a utility spell, you can sit down and, you know, bring out a utility spell.
No, I think it's a very
time
good
is allowed.
rule. I think that's a good variant rule.
It just, to me, it helps the gold cost investment that like wizard and witch get, because
that is a problem.
That is huge, especially when you compare it to other casters who don't have to worry about that. Because eventually, when you start getting to like 7th level spells, it's hundreds of gold you're spending per spell.
God, yeah, true.
It's like when I was playing Nikos, and we're just like, okay, guys, what are we doing with our group gold? Everyone looks at the wizard and he's like, well, I do have some spells to add to the book, I guess.
Yeah, and meanwhile, it's like, dude, I got my magic sentient weapons. I'm just kind of chilling. I'm fine. Go crazy. I got all my magic weapons and armor. So like I accidentally hit my mute button. I'm perfectly fine just existing. Here's my money.
Yeah. So that's just the rough thing. But like that's fine. I think that's an equitable cost, you know, having the ability to have spells when you need them versus cool magic gear.
Yeah. Oh man, I think the one thing I'm really excited about with making this with this new character, the reason I want to switch, and it's a thing of like I think it's very like evident. I have a lot of hesitations for character swapping. Because I've played too many games with like bad tables where someone would make up a character, and then because they have a new character idea, they want to kill off this character they made because they're like, oh, I want to change, I want to kill this character, like that kind of thing, derailing stuff so they could just play a new character like every session. It was it's obnoxious, and that's what I grew like basically played a lot of early on, and then it's like hopping into here where it's like, yeah, you're completely good to switch, and I'm like, is it though? Are you just saying that? Even though I know full well that is the case. Yeah, it's like, it's not... the reason I'm more okay with it here is because I joined in mid-campaign, and specifically the character I'm making and like want to play, I feel like can take a lot more of an active role in the plot. Because Adrian's kind of just like disconnected, because he's like, I went through a really bad thing in my time, and now I'm just like... Freedom Pirate Man. He doesn't have an active role. His story is a lot more psychological, and that's not coming up as much because he's not because you know it's just he'd spend more time with the party. With this character I want to play, he's actively like, oh no, I'm super invested in like everything that's going on, and like actively searching for. I want to play a character where I can take a very active role in the plot and like seek out information. I really want to do that. And
yeah,
it'd be a very interesting change of pace.
You know, it's funny enough. That's how I got Nikos into the game, Because I went from playing the Furbolg, who didn't care anything about anyone, just wanted to survive, to
Yeah.
Nikos, who's like, I'm actively investigating the demon threat. And you all look like you're strong enough to not die immediately. So if I hang out with you, I can observe and not die.
Yeah. I'll tell you at least one thing: my wizard is not evil, so we're not going to share that part.
That's fair. But I mean, like, it's a thing of like, I'm not a big fan of people who swap characters all the time. I'm definitely not. But I've seen too many instances of a good character swap turning out much for the better for the person and the game as a whole.
Honestly, we've had it a few times.
Yeah, in our anima game, which was streamed, one of our players swapped like a quarter of the way through the game, and it was a good swap.
Very good swap.
Much happier. It made the group actually even get along even better, and it made everyone feel good. And like I had my own experience
I love that
swapping.
So great.
Yeah, Lexi was really good. I think it's perfect for the party.
Yeah.
And even then, I swapped from the Furbolg to Nikos, the evil wizard of Thay, and honestly, that was a really good swap as well.
Also true.
From a character who just didn't really care about anyone and was more worried about survival and like the balance of things, and went to a wizard who is very interested in what the campaign was offering, and heavy invested in his party members to keep himself alive, because that's how you survive, not by getting rid of your assets carelessly or being an asshole and getting yourself killed. So
yeah, I think it's going to be a very fun change. I'm excited. I think because I take it from what you've been saying, it's like soon that this could happen.
As soon as you guys get to the Megambia, which, depending, because you guys keep rolling encounters with a 30% chance, somehow, it could be in... I was expecting 2 sessions starting yesterday, which means that next session you guys should get there. I wasn't expecting you guys to roll 3 encounters in 5 days.
Jesus.
At a 30% chance.
Yeah. Well, you know.
So that has a little bit thrown things off.
Yeah, you know. It'd be like that sometimes.
It'd be like that sometimes. I do love random encounters, though.
They're fun.
But, yeah. So, you know, like, character swapping, I do think it can be a problem. I do think there's some players out there who can really get bored easy of their character style. And sometimes a player just doesn't find their groove, which is very unfortunate. And it is disruptive. No matter what, your character swappings are always disruptive in some way. It's just the cost of, is this next one going to be better? It's a gamble. And I like to let players take the gamble if they choose.
Yeah, that is a good point. I think then it has been something I've been on the fence for. Like, do I do this? Do I not? I think, yeah, you know what? I'll make it official when we get the chance. I'll switch off Adrian.
Yeah, well, now you got a really good opportunity.
Yeah, and have fun. Adrian's plot is in your hands.
I already have great ideas.
Go nuts! I'm really excited.
Okay, that's something I guess now I gotta think about. But yeah,
I think it's a thing that works specifically Dead Phoenix for like our group with how we play.
We're very narrative players.
Then I will say this is the only group I have ever experienced that going positively. I will completely say. Every other time it has happened, or there's a person who wants to do that, it goes bad. That this was the exception. So it's a thing where my nervousness with it is completely unwarranted in this group. Anywhere else, I think I'd be valid in like my fears.
Yeah. I mean, recently I also, because we're in a game my fiance is running, and I've swapped characters twice now. I swapped from my initial character, which I still think is a good idea, his main like action economy was gonna be taken up by everyone else in the party. He's just gonna be doing the same thing as everyone else, and it wasn't necessarily gonna be the best. And then the second character, I really liked, and everyone actually really liked the character as well. The problem was, I was playing a very serious character, a very serious and seriously minded character who is taking everything very seriously. And we have some chaos monkeys in our party. One of our players is playing a tax collector automaton from Chiliax, who's a barbarian. And so all he talks about is taxes all the time. And then we also got into an instance where a man like captured an angel creature and was planning on eating it, and some of the party members were okay with that. And then we also got offered the ability to make soul coins out of evil souls, mind you. But like, it was still something about messing with the flow of souls that my character was just like not okay with. And there's just a lot of events like that, and I was being stressed playing the character because I'm like, why am I traveling with these people?
Yeah.
They're nuts, and they're doing stuff that's like, the worst part is after I swapped them out, those kind of events stopped happening. But my current character is really fun, and I won't be swapping him out anytime soon or ever, because he just doesn't care. He's just kind of, he's like a mercenary magus who's just kind of in it for himself and is kind of very like whatever about anything. And he fits in a lot better personality wise with the party, and that I'm not stressed playing anymore. So, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's still tragic though, because I was getting really into an investigator that was also developing an assassin playstyle, which was really fun. I would have really have liked to keep playing him, and honestly, if I stuck it out a little longer, I could have possibly gotten over it. But you know, it's a gamble.
True.
In the end. Well, I guess we should mention the topic for today. Why does Paizo and Pathfinder keep trending?
I guess
too, because you know what? I really don't have a lot to say about it.
This is typical like table talk, you know. The people that know.
Well, normally I have something that can hold like a decent hour or so of talking about. Like this one, Paizo's been trending, Pathfinder keeps trending, and why your Twitter has been suspended the last few days. Excuse me. But it's so what's happened is Paizo's recently released a really cool AP for Starfinder. It is Horizons of the Vast, and the cover art for it looks sick as heck. You got this Yeti-looking, like, Wendigo space creature with two of the Iconics fighting him right there. And it looks really cool. And they said this is going to be the Kingmaker of Starfinder, which is really hype. If you don't know Kingmaker, Kingmaker is a really good adventure path that even made, like, a game was made after it by Owlcat Games, Kingmaker, which was really good. It's all about, it has a lot of good rules for building your own kingdom, in a sense, and there's a lot of very interesting quests. A lot of it is really well done. The player book that you give to your players so they can make characters is 87 pages, and this is a free extra, a free download you can give to your players. It's 87 pages to get your players hyped for the game. And it also includes the rules for running your kingdom and running armies. You actually get army rules as well.
Oh. Hey, yo.
Yeah. So it's really hype. And for that to be compared to what Horizons of the Vast is, it's kind of sick, honestly. I do think Starfinder is good. I think the problem with me is I love the Pathfinder 2E systems so much that going backwards to Starfinder feels off.
Agreed.
Oh, hey, Rylan. Nice to see you. And, but I really like what Starfinder has to offer. And honestly, Paizo has been coming out with bangers for Starfinder left and right recently. This year especially. I feel like they decided to double down on Starfinder rather than coming out with the 2E. Yeah. And I think you know what? I think the major cause for that as well is because Starfinder has more of a Pathfinder 1E feel to it. So for the 1E players who don't want to go to 2E, it's a good second choice. Other than to continue playing 1E stuff.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. That makes sense at the end of the day. I would rather there be a 2E Starfinder, but I mean, like, at the same time, I don't want that at the expense of, like, hey, Starfinder fans, the thing you really like is just dead. No more 1E styled stuff anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be, like, released continuously. Too many people like Starfinder for me to actively, like, wish for Starfinder 2E.
I think Starfinder has still got 5 years before they're going to consider an actual 2E.
Oh, yeah, no, I imagine they'll do it at some point. I just, it's the thing of, like, I'm not gonna, it's not something I'm begging for, because I know how sad it would make some people. Some people like the 1E style stuff. I don't see the appeal. Granted, I don't like the rules very much. But, you know, what works for you works.
Unfortunately, it just has that 1E feel to it that I think, after playing 2E, feels less refined.
Yeah, exactly.
Starfinder Unchained, that'd be cool. But yeah, so and this is the thing, right? So this is why I think Paizo and Pathfinder keep trending on Twitter. And they're trending on Twitter. One of the largest media platforms that are used daily. And tabletop games are trending, and they trend very frequently. I don't know how often D&D trends, because I'm just not in the D&D Twitter circles. But it feels like it trends the same, if not more, than D&D does.
I do see, I mean, I follow a little bit more 5e stuff than you, I feel. Maybe. But I definitely see Pathfinder trending more.
It's one of those things, and the reason why I think it is because Paizo keeps releasing banger content that their community is super excited for.
Absolutely.
And D&D doesn't match the same pace or hype that Pathfinder does.
100%. Like, how often does, like, 5e release a book? Like, what, once every, like, a year or so?
Something. It's when a lot of their books are more adventure paths.
Yeah, exactly.
But, like, you know, you have Pathfinder coming out with actual setting books, and they're not small, insignificant setting books.
No.
This is just for one, like, section. The Millennium Expanse book. And this is a really good book. D&D released one setting book, which was the Sword Coast one. And it's
and the magic
super
ones.
thin.
Don't forget the Magic the Gathering source books.
Oh, yeah, they did do the magic. Yeah, that's right, for the crossover stuff.
For the 2 they did. I mean, yeah, remember how like hyped Tasha was because it actually fixed some of the problems,
Because it was
and then
actually like a source book that changed the rules. Yeah, everyone was
yeah,
excited. It wasn't another adventure path.
exactly. It was like, and it's actually a good book. There's a lot. The spells are great. Add some great feats. The new classes they add are fucking awesome. And then it's just like, and radio silent. No more cool stuff.
Rylan, I'll
Hey,
check to see if I can adjust anything on the YouTube side of things. I
yeah,
don't know. I really don't think I can really change anything. With the streams.
yeah, hopefully. Though, yeah, isn't that true? Didn't their space book come out in like 3 books?
The D&D one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 3 different books. All of them were smaller than most Pathfinder books. The art was amazing on them, though.
Oh, yeah, they look great. That's kind of it.
But that's, yeah, it's, I don't know. Again, I don't want to sit here and bash D&D like we always do.
We always
It's
do that.
not my fault. It's just, they're valid criticisms.
They are.
But, yeah, it's unfortunate because honestly, D&D deserves better
100%.
from Wizards of the Coast. It deserves better, and the players, I think, are hungry for more kind of content. And it's just not being provided. I think D&D is great. I think it's really good for getting people into the game. The industry has been forever changed by D&D 5e. No one can contest that.
Yeah, it needs more. I wish 5e players were treated as good as Pathfinder players.
Yeah. I mean, Pathfinder, we're pretty spoiled.
Super spoiled.
And when bad things come up, like the whole treating of their workers and the writers and everything like that, you know what happened? Paizo got down and started working with the writers, and the Paizo union was formed in like no time at all.
Yeah, real quick.
And Paizo is constantly working with its union workers on stuff. Are there still issues? I'm sure running a business.
Yeah, no business is like problemless.
But I genuinely think that Paizo really does care about the people that work for them and about the people who, you know, well, yeah, but the reason being a TTRPG writer sucks is because being a TTRPG company sucks. They're not super profitable. Paizo has been pushed purely by the desire of the CEOs and the initial people who started it because they love tabletop so much. There are much better ways of making money out there than running TTRPGs. That's super evident on the D&D side of things. But Paizo actually works really hard to make everything awesome. And not only that, but they get genius people. You can go on to Twitter and you can see people talking about how the design works. How they actually have like a literal algorithm for how rules are set into the game and what they go through. And the game feels so good to play.
So good.
There's a reason why it's my favorite game.
Yeah,
and
it's super well made. The writers and the staff and the company, they work their ass off, and it's paid off.
And I'm gonna be upfront with everyone. I've been more and more getting tired of the high fantasy medieval setting. Honestly, I've been really craving more high tech or modern aesthetics in tabletop.
Mm-hmm.
And playing D&D, I really feel my burnout on that setting style. But playing Pathfinder, I still feel it, but it doesn't feel as bad because the game is genuinely interesting, and because building characters, I've never had more fun in my life building characters than I have in Pathfinder 2e.
Only time in my life I've liked making builds is Pathfinder, and honestly, I get that too, because as a as someone who prefers modern or sci-fi settings to fantasy, I feel like Pathfinder, you have some wiggle room to like not. You can easily make it so some places aren't as like fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Like it
Or
feels like you
medieval,
can.
anyway.
Yeah, you can at least like mess around with that a lot more than I think you can in like 5e.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, they have literal androids
Yeah,
and automatons.
fucking robots and like time travel and shit. Like, there are ways to do it.
I really do think that if you really wanted to run a modern version of the game, you could with very little adjustments.
Honestly,
All you have to do is just aesthetically change the names of some types of armor, and you're good to go. Yeah, the giant robot scorpion. The Broken Lands has some fun stuff. Looking into the derelict ships that are crashed into the Broken Lands is really fun. And that's the thing, like Pathfinder has all this baked in a way that feels organic to the setting and works really well. D&D doesn't. What D&D does is it has a multiverse where all different kinds of worlds exist, which is okay, and I think it's not a bad way to do it. But when you're just comparing setting to settings, the main setting of Galarian just kind of dunks on the main setting of Faerun.
I am
with
immensely more interested in Galarian's lore than Faerun. It's like so much effort and like care put into the setting than like Faerun is just like really jumbled and kind of like kind of overly complicated because they just won't, they haven't reset their world.
And that's a lot of what I like about games. I don't mind homebrewing my own setting. I'm completely fine with that. And there's a lot of times I'll adjust things in the game world to make it more interesting or better. But I really do like investing in games. Anima's lore was so fascinating that diving into it was super fun. And playing my players in the world as it was written was really good. Galarian, I'm starting to feel that more as my proficiency with the setting keeps going up. Because I keep finding that it's not just your standard cookie cutter fantasy Tolkien setting. It's way more layered, has a lot more to offer, and there's a lot of ways to really make the setting interesting. And this is what makes Paizo and Pathfinder just trend so much, because the community can be legitimately hyped about stuff in a setting they care about. It's all about, like, in comparison to like D&D, where people get hyped about a book that comes out that is an aesthetic they like, they have to generate new hype with each book because none of it stacks on itself. With Pathfinder, the hype has settled, but there's still like a level of hype because people enjoy the setting and really care about the setting. So when new content comes out, it just spikes higher. Yeah, they did get Tesla tech from Russians in Galarian setting. Actually.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah.
What?
That's a thing.
Fucking excuse me?
The Baba Yaga is
I know that
from real world Russia
I remember that part. I thought that's where it ended.
And Anastasia, from the story of Anastasia, was brought to Galarian as well.
What the fuck?
And yeah, Ustalav has the what coils? What were they called again? Can't remember. So I was also looking at a message I got.
I don't remember this being. I mean, when we were in Ustalov. I don't remember this part.
Yeah, you guys were very in Usalav for a very short amount of time, unfortunately, and I was also very
Fair.
new to the setting at that point. So
That is true.
my proficiency has gone up a lot since then.
Oh yeah, a lot.
It's Guns and Gears. I really want to remember because they also have like the Phantogram gauntlets, which is like a taser gauntlet, big metal taser gauntlet.
That is
with
pretty
pistons. Honestly, Guns and Gears is such a good book. I really need to dive into it some more.
It's like the one book I've bought for myself.
The various inventions and such added into it, so good. Oh yeah, I really want them to do more stuff on Arcadia as well.
That too. Though, Cam, I
What's
gotta
up?
pull you real quick.
Okay.
I will be right back.
Okay.
You entertain the chat.
Oh,
I know this is
damn
something you struggle
shame.
with.
I know.
Don't worry.
Oh, I guess I gotta be
believe
the
in you.
Alex in this situation. Oh, please, so don't do it. They're so mean to me.
That is a perfect impression. I could have said that, honestly.
You could have said that.
I probably would have.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. I just want to know what these Teslas are called. Oh, they're just called coils. From the Station Tech tree. But yes, the galvanic mortal coils. Pathfinder has such a good setting. However it's pronounced, I'm not sure. Station technology, yes. There's so much good stuff when it comes to Galarian setting. And for people who are just getting into the game for the first time, or people who are or finding out, I think one of the biggest barriers of entry, one is the rule density, which is higher than like D&D 5e, but two, it's seeing what Pathfinder's setting provides that D&D setting didn't. Because at face value, it looks to be the same. And even when you read into it a little bit and when you're looking through the core book, you don't see a lot of the differences. You see a lot of the standards, kind of tropes that high fantasy has invoked up until this point. And what Paizo has done and a lot of the really good writing has made this fantasy world feel more like what a modern-ish world would feel if they lived in this kind of setting. Because there are kind of different improvements that get done. There's different kinds of levels of technology. There are some places that feel more like modern cities than they do like standard fantasy. No, actually, because the thing is, the world is so inherently dangerous. There's bad stuff happening all the time. like all over the place. And a lot of the threats are also high level for even the characters that are in the world. Looking at the Legends book specifically, you can see there are a lot of good level NPCs in there, but some of them are not even that high a level, actually. And the setting is huge. There's stuff going on all over. The Eye of Dread is just busy all the time with undead threats, dealing with the Whispering Tyrant. Gerund, and more specifically the Mwangi Expanse, is filled with all kinds of dealings with cultists. There's a variety of demon creatures in the Mwangi that are also pulling, like there's the cults of Dahak. There is the ape people. I can't remember their name at the moment, doing their stuff. The people in that world are constantly working on those threats. And a lot of the high level NPCs that are, would be like, oh yeah, let's all get together and like beat the thing. If they leave their area, it will collapse because something will happen. Because there's powers out there who want to destroy everything they want to do. And honestly, there's not that many super high level people. Less than 20, I would say. And they're pretty sparsely speckled throughout the world. Some of them are dealing even now with god level threats. I mean, in the Knights of Lastwall, the Cabrina, what was her name? Oh goodness, I really need to get that book. I haven't gotten it yet. No, that's Grand Bazaar. Darn. Do I not have it here? Either way, the Knights of Lastwall are fighting the Whispering Tyrant, who's a demigod level threat. And to be fair, you don't have to worry about that because your setting can be different. The more you make the setting your own, the better it gets. Anima Beyond Fantasy, I super love the setting, but I have now irreversibly changed the setting in some ways for the better for our games. And I have my own headcanon for how things go that I think go better than the narrative they were driving with the initial story. And in Galarian, that's a lot the same thing, Galarian has so many things happening all over the place that if your characters do something in a corner of the world, even if they make something world-shattering, like world-changing, it's only a small part of Galarian that you're affecting. There are still other continents that aren't even on the main map that you can see in the background here that you have access to.
It's like a tabletop world. You're actually like, it's designed for you to interact with, instead of like, I think 5e has more of the problem of the why are we doing anything when like these characters could take care of it.
Well, yeah, it's because they refuse to write about anything that's not in the Sword Coast.
Yeah, exactly. And then like Galarian, yeah, I think that point of just like they're all fucking busy.
Yeah, Elminster or whatever. Elminster showed up and was like trying to help in Out of the Abyss, like written in.
Like,
and that's also another thing, right? Unfortunately, a lot of D&D writers, the old hats specifically, are such D&D nerds, they can't help but cameo characters into like almost every book. And
I do really like that. It's a bit of a problem.
It's a bit annoying because you can definitely feel like your characters are less relevant because of that. In Pathfinder, you may come across some of the iconics or some of the powerful characters like Rainmaker, but they're so busy with their own stuff, they don't have the time to help, and there's always some justifiable reason because Galarian's under constant siege from powers and other creatures and worlds that you can't, like, understand. The Matangi orcs are constantly fighting back demons at all times that it makes it impossible for them to go anywhere else. And Rainmaker is at the head of the Matangi. And that's not even, and you know what's crazy? That's not even the only orc faction of relevance in the world. Like, there's the other orcs as well, who are, they're currently on, like, the border between Variscia and the Eye of Dread. And they worked with the Whispering Tyrant in the last, like, war where the Tyrant went to go and capture the Starstone Chapel. And now they're like, we're not helping you. That was very bad for us. And you turned a lot of us into undead creatures anyway. And so... well, the Queen of Mendev is not even on the material plane anymore. She ascended to a level of godhood. That's actually old lore there. Because she's no longer doing the stuff. Wrath of the Righteous closed that up. But she's ascended to a level of godhood and is doing other stuff on the celestial level. But yeah, so the orcs, anyway, I got sidetracked. They're like, okay, we kind of just showed our ass to a very powerful lich. What are we gonna do? And so the orcs, for the first time in a very, like, warring nation kind of area, are getting together to try to survive. And the dwarves from Dungenhold, which is in Garand, across the world, are looking to make peace with these orcs because a long time ago they made, like, this blood feud thing. And so now they're looking to, like, get a messenger up to those orcs to kind of get things to work together. And so you might get a blending fusion of orc dwarven war against undead in a future adventure path.
Hell yeah. That sounds sick.
Isn't it? That's what the setting has.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. It's so cool that, like, it's like, you know, they're setting stuff up. So, like, things don't just, like, uh-oh, Baldur's Gate's getting attacked again.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate. Oh no, Waterdeep. Oh no. It's tragic. Not to say that D&D doesn't come out with some fun adventure paths. I legitimately do think that most of the adventure paths they do come out with are fun. Yeah. It's not that at all. The problem is, while D&D is making fun adventures, Pathfinder is making a fun setting. And I gotta say, D&D doesn't have the Baba Yaga coming in and pile driving fucking demons because they've got on her nerves. Just saying.
Yeah, that's sick as fuck, yeah.
There's an image of the Baba Yaga choke slamming one of the iconics.
I gotta find this. I'm sorry, one sec. That is the coolest shit.
Did you find it?
I think I did.
Is it the one with, yeah, she's choke slamming, Amiri?
I think so, yeah.
Or not Amiri, I forget her name.
She just looks terrified about the Baba Yaga.
Yeah, and she's holding her up by the throat, and she's got a finger like, don't do it, bitch.
Don't you dare.
Well, while, the paladin iconic, or the champion iconic, is getting kicked by her house in the background.
Holy fuck.
while it's raining ice arrows.
This is goddamn Galarian, you're real cool.
Yes, actually, what is it? Abomination Vaults got ported over to 5e, and not only that, Kingmaker has been ported over to 5e as well. And
That's true.
is also a contributing factor, I think. I don't know if it's necessary to the trending, other than the fact that people are just hyped for the module and the adventure path anyway. But the big thing is that did spark some controversies. There's a lot of dumb people out there who are like, oh, Paizo's just folding into D&D. They're just bending the knee because they'll make more money. It's just like, well, yeah, they're going to do something that makes more money, but even better than that, they get to introduce their setting to the D&D players and make more money. Yeah, that is true. One of the PCs did shit talk Baba Yaga, and she just banished them to Earth, where they have no powers anymore.
Oh my god. Yeah, I do like how the Pathfinder wiki is just like Earth, and it's like talking about Earth as if like we don't fucking live there.
Yep.
Inhabitant, what? I'm sorry. Inhabitants, humans, various forgotten magical creatures, and Cthulhu.
Yep.
He's here?
Yep.
What the fuck? Why is he here?
Oh, do they still have powers on Earth? Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, yeah. Share the Baba Yaga pic in the Discord.
Yes, I will do so.
This will be in the Pics and Vids section, right? Or do we have a different one?
I'm tossing it in Pics and Vids.
It could also go into tabletop discussions.
Yeah, we'll go tabletop discussions then.
Given my character was a gunslinger. Fair.
They'll fit right in.
And they got to America and they realized they weren't the only cowboy anymore.
Wait, I'm not special anymore. Everyone here has one.
Everyone has guns.
There you go. There is the Baba Yaga picture.
It's so good.
It's a goddamn. It's very good.
It's the Pathfinder setting legitimately does offer, I think, a very good and unique setting to play your games in. The biggest hurdle, I think, is getting past the idea that this is not just another Tolkien-esque fantasy world, that it kind of takes a lot of inspiration from, especially when you're looking just through the core book. It's one of the... if you can get past that hurdle, you find that Galarian is so interesting. And you can have so many different kind of campaigns. You want to deal with undead politics, they just released an adventure path for that, which is a very heavily focused game on the undead politics of Geb. You want to go and deal with massive dragon-like creatures, big mammoths in the cold north, you got that. You want to deal with planes traversing characters from Earth, you got that. You want to go and scavenge and salvage broken down spaceships, you can do that. You want to deal with aliens, same place. You want to have vampire politics specifically, you got that. You want your magic school, you got that. Want to play Street Fighter? I mean, I don't know about that, but they do have martial arts tournaments.
Watch as one like Archmage has a Street Fighter 2 like or Street Fighter 3 like Final Strike cabinet in his office.
Yeah. I mean, they also have something like that in D&D.
To be fair, I would fucking love to hang out with that wizard.
What defines a Tolkien fantasy world anyway? Fantasy worlds that are similar to Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
That's literally the definition.
elves that are like the high elf thing, mountain dwarves, or it's just that whole thing.
Yeah.
Hobbits, halflings. Most Western fantasy is Tolkien inspired in some way.
A lot of the core, whatever the core book has, is Tolkien inspired.
Yep.
And the biggest, I guess, defining thing is it's a world that is of a medieval kind of... Ow. Why? A world that's more medieval on the technology scale that has fantasy elements in it. And that's very Lord of the Rings. Yeah, Lord of the Rings is a very high but low magic setting. Magic is very hard to get, but there are very fantastical forces.
Yeah, it's I mean in actual Tolkien lore, it's because the Third Age is the whole reason everything is happening the way it is because magic is dying out, and Middle Earth is just Earth, and like I think modern Earth is like the 5th age of Middle Earth.
I'm not
because
sure.
the entire framing device of Lord of the Rings is that Tolkien is literally transcribing ancient texts he found. Literally, this fucking giant professor nerd is just he's not writing fantasy for escapism. He's doing his job in a fictional setting. Because in he the whole thing with the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings is that all the names he gives are English names for these characters. It's not their real names. He has them in like the fucking margins and like notes in the back.
I do think that is a thing, yeah, Dead Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like by the Third Age, most of the magic has died out, and the people who have magic are like the Air, which is the angels figures, which is what Gandalf and Sauron are, and Saruman. Yeah. I know a lot about Lord of the Rings.
It's a fantastic setting, honestly. It's very fascinating.
I can see why it became like the standard. It's a very interesting lore. All the shit with the Silmarillion and Tolkien's letters. I think in another life I would have loved to be a Tolkien scholar.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, so I mean that's the thing, right? That's what a lot of what current fantasy is based around. It was that, and then it was D&D, and then everything is kind of spawned from D&D because D&D really sets the bar for what fantasy and high fantasy really is. And so everything after that has been much of an adaptation. But the difference between Faerun and Galarian is Faerun is poorly written in a way that it is trying to convince the readers that it is a more medieval, people don't know about the supernatural kind of setting. That just supernatural stuff happens constantly, and I don't know how anyone could ever say otherwise. And Galarian is everyone knows about the fantasy stuff. There are simple farming villages, yes, but they still hear stories of dragons and stuff like that, and the world is very fantastical, and it has more than just 2 cities.
True.
Pathfinder just went with it. They're like, okay, no, pretty much everyone knows about magic stuffs, and anyone could really realistically be a wizard. You just gotta study. Where in D&D, the initial concept was in order to be a wizard, you had to study for 40 years. So it's Galarian took what made D&D good and made it better. And then not only that, but offered a wide variety of stuff that changes the genre enough to suit different palette styles. While D&D, instead of doing that for their initial setting, made alternate settings that again did very, very well. Dark Sun is very beloved. Yeah, that's the Earthfall stuff. Which, to be fair, Earthfall came before even the initial core book of Pathfinder 1. Yeah, imagine Harry Potter but old people. Exactly. You had to have an actual PhD to be a wizard.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, yeah, you can kind of learn magic. You know, it does require some level of intelligence, but you can do it. Now, whether you get to the high level spells or not, that takes a real genius, but you know.
Yeah, and like good luck affording to get into those fun schools.
Yeah, that's also another thing as well. Is
That's something I've been looking into because that's one of the key stories of my character is that I'm going to be switching off to. It's a wizard who he found a way to pay for college.
yeah.
It might not be the most legal way to pay for college. Might have kind of fucked him over in the end, but you know, we'll get to that. Tune in on Tuesdays to our live play if you want to see this.
Yeah, join us for Riptide, where I try to kill my players every other session.
You do that.
I do that too much, don't I? But
But you know,
yeah, so like, I don't know. I mean, today we've just been having a good time talking about Pathfinder, really, but I do think it really speaks volumes for Paizo that despite not making as much money as D&D, despite not even having near the same following as D&D, it constantly has a very big audience that really loves everything they do and are willing to go out and talk about it. And it's just like D&D, only more concentrated to like the core fan group that are hyped about it, you know.
mm-hmm.
One of D&D, I think, biggest problems is it's overly casual. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. I think it's a good thing for people who want to get into tabletop, but it's a bad thing for people who want to invest in D&D. Because they're going to want more, and the settings are just not going to provide it.
Yeah, you're gonna get your fun new thing every like 2 years or so.
And let me just say this as well, because I feel like this isn't being said enough in general. There are other games than D&D and Pathfinder that you can play that are really, really fun. And you don't need to just dedicate yourself to one game system. They're like video games. You can play as much or as little of them as you want in all kinds of fashions. You know what I've been hankering a lot lately? Lancer. I want to play some more Lancer.
Oh, yeah, Lancer. Lancer's great.
That's been my craving. I just really like the mechs. I really love the almost eldritchness there is in that game. So good. And the rules feel really good, honestly.
Yeah.
And the playstyle can be really modular, you know? You could have a once-a-month Lancer group and still really get a lot of enjoyment out of Lancer because of how the mission style works. Heck, Vampire the Masquerade. I feel like if I got the right players in my groups together to play a good Vampire the Masquerade group, we would have a legendary game of Vampire
100%.
the Masquerade.
Holy shit.
But, you know, like, that's another thing as well. Vampire the Masquerade has, like, there's people who live and die by that game because of the types of campaigns they can have. And there's no game out there that has a better, like, score for people coming out of it with legendary games.
I have a character that I'm happily waiting for when we do VTM. I want to play my Malkavian so fucking bad.
Yeah.
I'm just, you know, change him up to be more fitting for a long form campaign. I already got some ideas to how to do that very easily. Instead of making him a one-shot character, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I think that will probably happen at some point.
Yes.
When the channel evolves to the point where we could start doing more like tabletop stuff in a way that's fun and profitable for everyone, while the channel is still capable of being run, you know, I think that'll be something that we'll do more often, is playing like mini campaigns, like 20 session campaigns of different games.
Mm-hmm.
I think is something I'd really like to do. Even 10 sessioners I think would be really fun. I did do that on this channel for a while, but we just didn't have consistent enough attendance, if I can get people to pay players to play, I think we can ensure better attendance and overall quality and still get those games out to check it out. So,
Oh yeah.
that is something that I really do wish for the future. So, eventually when we get to that point, which might not be too long, a couple years, maybe, we will definitely be taking a lot deeper looks into the games that we want to look into and really getting the full experience out. And I think that's something that's very exciting. And I would love to do something like Dimension 20 does, where you have these short campaigns that are really fun to watch, but are showing off other game systems. I think that would be a dream come true, is to have the same kind of energy and momentum as Dimension 20, but for other game systems.
Oh yeah, I think that'd be great. Having those like 5 to 10 session campaigns, very like entertaining, cut down, edited like Dimension 20, and then like, hey, yeah, VTM, Lancer, whatever else we pick.
Yeah, I would love to do that, and I don't even think it would be that much of a stress to add it once we get more people to like edit videos and everything like that. If I had all my stuff edited for me during the week, I could work on projects like that a lot more easily.
Mm-hmm.
And that will come with time. We will get there. I know we will, because the channel's been doing really, really well. The Scion group politics was really, really fun. Having a bunch of Scions with their individual divinity parents trying to vie for control over this like ragtag group is really fun. But yeah, and honestly, I'm legitimately interested as well as diving more into Galarian and getting more out of the setting than just the high fantasy setting that it presents on the cover. I really want to get my players really invested in the world as well, because that when the players invest in your game world, even if it's a standard, be like the default, it makes your games better.
That's something I want to try to do with this next character. I really want to like do that for Galarian, because I want to actually learn about Galarian through the game. I want to learn about this cool world, because there's some cool shit that deserves being looked into. So I want to play a character that actively cares about this world.
That's fair. That's a good way to play. And this is the kind of player, folks, that you want to have in your games, who, despite how Alex is normally, he does want to genuinely invest.
A nice compliment sandwich, I see.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I like challenging myself and playing new things and working to better what I do.
Yeah, and honestly, to look at game systems as more than what they present on the surface as well, I think is another big thing that people really need to invest in, because game systems can become super like impactful in your own life when you start getting into like the fandom of it side of things. If you dig deep enough and you find something you like, that's something that's worth the effort. It sucks that you have to dig deeper than I think you should in Galarian to get that. I feel like there's a lot of really good lore, but it does just have that veneer of high fantasy Tolkien-esque stuff that makes it feel like it's another one on the pile.
Mm-hmm.
And excuse me, sorry, phlegm. That's unfortunate, because I do think it's really interesting. Is it the best setting? No. I would give it maybe a solid B after everything I've found. But that's better than the D that Faerun is.
Yeah.
And the game is also another part about it as well. The game is legitimately fun. Playing the game mechanically is actually really fun. it's not necessarily as much as just waiting for my turn to smack or cast spells. There's different ways you can bend the action economy. There's different styles of play that you can really get a lot out of. And then building characters is a very fun, complex method of trying to like get a certain play style out. Look at any of my build videos. You'll see characters that play in very unique ways, and I made like 7 of them already.
Yeah, and there's more to look forward to because like,
And yeah,
I'm really excited to see your psychic build that you've talked about.
yes,
As well. I guess I'll watch your champion build. I
Yeah,
guess
it's
it's
coming
gonna
out
be the one
tomorrow.
that gets me to like champion, which is impossible.
Mhm.
Possible, by the way.
And also next week I'm gonna do my best to make Alex like a druid build.
Ugh,
I'm making a druid build for Halloween,
it'll never happen. I hate.
and it's
I
gonna be a
hate it.
strong mix between shadow magic and plant magic.
Plant magic, disgusting.
Yeah,
Even worse.
sure, we'll see. It's gonna be a really good build, full of spooks, shadows, flames, and pumpkins.
I like everything except the pumpkin.
What's wrong with pumpkin?
It's a plant. How are you supposed to eat it? It's not my favorite class. It's a lie. It's a F tier class. Right
You
next to
can
Alchemist.
Weird. If you go to Archive and Nethys, you can look up all the deities with a small snippet of it from first and second edition. I don't know if it's everything. Archive and Nethys does not post non-rule specific kind of materials, but talking about the deities is important for the characters who play it, so they offer a lot on that side of things. So
No, the wiki has information. Granted, I don't know how right it is, but the wiki does have info on them. If there's a specific one you want to look into,
yeah, the Pathfinder wiki is starting to become outdated, unfortunately,
that's how I expected. It seemed like
because of the transition.
Yeah.
And that's just because, that's fair. You don't want to give away, like, Paizo already is willing you to give everything away that is required to play the game. They need to keep something behind a paywall.
They need to make some money.
I am completely okay with this because it's not like D&D Beyond where you can't play some of the new like subclasses or whatever unless you buy another book on D&D Beyond. Though I do think they've released more free material on D&D Beyond now than there used to be, but I still think there's some like player-based stuff that you can't access. So yeah, like if today's table talk has not gotten you hyped to actually start looking into what this, what Galarian has to offer, what Paizo as a company has to offer as far as like material and investment, I don't know what else to say, honestly. I will say it is completely fair if you want to play other games other than Pathfinder or D&D. That's completely fair. I think that's very valid, and I think honestly people need to do that more often.
Play other games. Don't like behold yourself to one game or other people to one game. Play what you want. Have fun. Go wild. Play Anima mainly. Play
Anima.
play D&D 4e even. AD&D? Yeah, sure.
Grandmother Spider's a really kick-ass deity. I love her. She's really good.
I remember reading about that one and being like, this is fucking interesting, and then like scrolling.
And then scrolling past. It's
Yeah,
cool.
I was skimming. I have no idea.
Akachek is also really cool. Her mantis brother, who is the head of the
Oh!
Red Mantises.
You've told me about this one. Yes,
Yep.
they're cool. They're
Yeah.
very cool.
Gaia is a really good setting. Anima's setting is really solid. I will 100% admit. I fell in love with it because it's the perfect mix between some kind of gritty and darkness and anime.
I like the first part of that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's your favorite game, Alex. You
Yeah,
gotta
well,
like
I
all
don't.
of it.
Yeah, well, I don't like the
you
anime
gotta, you
part.
gotta like,
I don't like the.
There's
Don't,
a lot of anime though. It's kind of very
Yeah,
filled
you
with it, my guy.
Yeah, you can work past it though. You can like ignore it. You don't need to call me out on this part. We can move on. Let's move on to a different topic. Hey, oh, it's 6 o'clock. Oh no, it's 6 o'clock.
It's 6
Ah,
o'clock.
dang. We can't talk about, can't make that point anymore. Oof, sorry.
Labaiko is sick. She's also one of my favorite deities.
I don't know about Labaiko. I don't know about Labaiko.
She's a goddess from the Mwangi Expanse, and like one of her things, she's about passion and lighting fires, like literally lighting fires.
All right, good for her, I guess.
And she's got a really good weapon. She has the let's see here, setting, deities. Yeah, the Spark in the Dust is her moniker, which is so cool.
Goddamn.
Her edicts are to set fires, change the world, and act with ambition or not at all.
Respectable.
And yeah, her favorite weapon is the long spear, which is actually really sick. Because the long spear, I believe, is a simple weapon. It is. It's a reach weapon, and it does a D8, but if you take it as a champion, you can turn it into a D10 reach weapon spear,
Ooh.
which is a really good damage die for reach weapons.
I would like that on my Fauch guard.
And her domains are ambition, fire, lightning, and zeal.
Hell yeah.
That sucks, Dead Phoenix. I'm sorry to hear that. She also has a versatile font. She can give the harm or heal fonts. So you can play a very aggressive cleric if you want to. And then she also has, she expands the cleric domains to offer Ill Omen, Flaming Sphere, and Fiery Body. Long Sphere also works for Ruffian Rogue Racket, which is really good. Yeah, there's a lot about her. She's really, really cool. I enjoy her because she's just about causing chaos and acting passionately. It's great. I think she'd make a very fun patron.
I think she would. Sounds dope.
I'm actually surprised that her weapon isn't the Fire Poi. But
Yeah, that would make sense.
the long spear is a really good one nonetheless. But yeah, we've hit our time.
Actually, I think that'd be a really fun discussion.
That's a very good one. I think if we don't have anything special to talk about, like today, for instance, that would be a really good one.
Yeah, because it's something that I've thought about a lot for just who I am, my own out of game like beliefs and stuff, and then for like translating whatever in game. I think it's a really interesting conversation.
Well, not only that, but what Galarian really has to offer as well is they don't have just the gods, like the standard stock gods. They also have like the Imperial Lords, which are the deities of the first the first world, which is like the Fey realm.
Yeah.
The Demon Lords are also deities you can technically pray to. They also have the they also have the Eldritch entities. They call the Eldest, which are also really cool. The Elemental Lords are all super fascinating. The monitor gods are also really, really cool. The other gods. And this game also offers really good pantheons, which you don't see a lot in tabletop settings, where if you don't necessarily have a particular god, but a set of ideals that multiple gods apply to. I mean, the God Claw is such a cool one, because it's all about law and order, and you get characters like, oh god, where's the God Claw? Because they have a really cool pantheon mix. You have Abadar, which is like the human god of like commerce and stuff. You have Osmodeus, the god of contracts and one of the oldest gods. You have Imodea, which is like the goddess of law, order, and retribution. Irori, the god of self-discipline. And you have Torag, the god of the dwarves and of diligence and discipline, all in one pantheon.
Pretty solid pantheon. I remember reading about them with Wrath of the Righteous when I was picking a character for a god for my Inquisitor.
Yeah, there's also Bree, the clockwork goddess, and